Good. Good evening, all, and it's 6 o'clock here in the UK, and yeah, I've got Shawn here, and I just want to talk to him about a couple of other things that I probably haven't covered or probably covered, and I know some of you were asking me questions the other day when we said that he's going to be on the program, so I will do that as well. Hello, Shawn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. Um, About your podcast, can you tell everybody about your podcast and what you do?
Sure, I could do that. Do you want the complete history of podcasting or just this particular show or
Yeah, about just tell me how you got into podcasting, what you do now, and what kind of podcast.
okay, I can do that. Let's see. Back in I think 2012, I started listening to podcasts, and by 2014, I decided I could do that. Seemed pretty easy. So, with my then wife, we started up Rusted Robot podcast, all about geeky stuff, pop culture news, and all that good stuff. And then what happened a few years after that? That marriage ended. I wanted to keep Rusted Robot going without her, so then it became the Lonely Shawn show until I got a new co-host, and that actually ended this year. But 4 years ago, I started up Soul Forge, which was not geeky. It was more about my life's journey, life advice, talking about things that people don't talk about. And what I wanted to do is it was kind of like my own personal journey, my own growth, my own progress. But also, I did it kind of so that one day my son could listen to it and find out what his dad went through and that kind of stuff. So that was started 4 years ago in July. Last year, me and a couple guys started up Cosmic Pizza Podcast, which is a mix of geeky and serious. And about a month ago, we started up the Epsilon 3, a Babylon 5 rewatch show. So all I do is podcast or sell my things on Etsy. So that's what happens here.
Yeah, and so you say about your son, your son, hopefully your son will watch it or hear it.
Hopefully.
Can you tell me what kind of things you've been through in the past?
Things I've been through?
Yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of tragic things for sure. A lot of people who have passed on in tragic circumstances. The falling apart of my marriage. That's well documented on Soulforge, episode 68, actually. What else? Well, you name it, and I've probably been through it. And there's probably an episode about it somewhere.
Yeah. And I was touching on relationships yesterday, and how long were you married for? Do you mind
Uh,
me asking these questions?
no, ask away, ask away. We got married Remembrance Day of 2012 and split up February of 2015, so not very long.
So you wasn't married for long then?
Sadly, no.
No, no. And did it was it because there were other things going on in each other's lives, or it's just because you couldn't get on?
No, actually, we got along great up until my mom passed away, and that really affected me, and my communication wasn't the best. And then her parents split up, and she wanted my sympathy, but I couldn't give it to her because I was still grieving. So we just our communication fell apart, and it never recovered.
Right, okay. And out of that marriage, you had your son.
Nope, no. My son is from a previous relationship.
All right, okay, okay. So, and so have you got one son, or have you got daughters too and everything?
Just the one.
One son. Okay,
Hmm.
good, good, good. And
Yeah.
will you ever think about, because you've been married before, would you ever think about getting married again?
Well, I'm currently engaged to the lady I'm seeing right now, so I guess the answer is yes.
Yeah, okay, okay. And what's it like? What's the relationship like now with your new girlfriend and the relationship that was with your kind of like ex-wife? Because sometimes, men, what they do in relationships, they usually kind of like they because one relationship breaks up, sometimes they move from one relationship to another. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, this lady that I'm with now, we've only been together since February of 2020, and the marriage fell apart in 2015. So there was a number of micro relationships along the way, because apparently I can't be alone. So there's that.
Yeah, yeah. And when you kind of, because I remember when I was involved in relationships and stuff, I've been married quite a few times actually. And
Is that right?
yeah, yeah, I've been married about 6 times.
Six? Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And my first wife died in a car crash.
Ooh, sorry to hear that.
Uh, my second wife didn't even last a year. She was a bit of a mummy's girl. She just wanted to go back with her mum.
Right.
And yeah, and everything else. I think it's the longest one I ever done. Been married for was about 13 years.
Oh, wow. That's good.
So, but the trouble is with relationships. I don't know if you agree with this. That do you ever find that people around you sometimes like to get involved in your business and in your relationship business, and they can't leave you alone?
Sometimes it depends on who they are. Most people I find tend to have good intentions, but there's always a few that don't. So you got to be careful.
Because they tend to they say that they're good friends of yours. They're only trying to protect you. You probably have heard all this, and they say, "Oh, I'm trying to protect you. We're trying to help you out," and things like that. But really, it's just at the end of the day, it's no one's business except for you,
That's right.
isn't it? What you do.
Well, yeah, because it's your life. You have to live it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, in any of your relationships in the past, I hope you don't mind me saying this. Uh, was there any violence or anything?
No violence, actually. No, I don't think there's been any, and very few arguments as well, because I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. No. But no, no violence, no punching, screaming, hitting. Well, screaming sometimes, sure, of course, when there are arguments, but never any violence, which is a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for bringing it up. I'm just kind of like just asking,
Yeah,
because
that's the way.
sometimes there are in some relationship that there is and screaming. Well, we all kind of like scream at each other, don't we, in the relationship?
True,
You
that
know?
is true.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sometimes I hear my next door neighbours, and that's bad enough. But but when you kind of like but now you're in another relationship,
Hmm.
um, what can you make your relationship better than what it was last time?
It's all about communication, I think. You have to talk about everything, and you have to be super honest and open and willing to be vulnerable, which is not something that everybody can do, but it's important.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And the trouble is, with a relationship, you've got to be honest anyway, ain't you?
You're supposed to be, should be.
Yeah, yeah. And how can you kind of like, how can somebody who's in a relationship or going through a breakup at the moment, what advice would you give them how to deal with it?
Well, that's hard to say because it depends on the circumstance, right? If they're being abused, then get the hell out. If it's just minor communication issues, learn to communicate better. There's all kinds of resources out there. YouTube videos. There's so many YouTube videos on how to have a successful relationship. Just watch that. Watch it with your partner. Go to counseling. Do whatever you have to do. If you want to make it work, you can make it work.
Yeah. What kind of interest do you have, by the way? Do you because you have a lot of interest about space, don't you?
Yeah, I'm big into science fiction. I like to read. I do well currently three podcasts. I just started up an Etsy shop to sell my collectibles back in June of this year. It started rusted robot toys on Etsy. What else? I don't know. Actually, I was just talking to my fiance about that earlier. She does not have any hobbies. She doesn't have any interest in what I like. I'm like, let's watch Star Trek together. There's only 800 episodes, and since I've seen them all, you can sit with me and we can watch them together. And she's like, nope, I have no interest in bumpy-headed freaks. So we don't have a lot in common pop culture wise, actually.
Yeah. And say this about space and everything. Do you believe there is people out on other worlds?
If there's not, it's an awful waste of space. I'd like to think there is. Whether they visited or they're intelligent or not, I don't know, but I'm sure there's at least microbes of some kind. And with trillions of planets and billions of galaxies and stuff, there's got to be something out there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's do you kind of like um if you were kind of in Star Trek, if you were offered a role, what would you like to play in Star Trek?
Like if Star Trek was real life or if I was an actor.
Well, yeah. So if someone came up to you and said, "Right, I've got a role for you in Star Trek," what kind of role would you put? Like to play actor wise?
I would like to be similar to Commander Riker, the first officer of the starship, because everything I learned about love, I learned from Commander Riker.
Yeah, yeah. And would you ever love to go to space?
I would love to go to space. I've wanted to go to space ever since I was a little kid.
Right. Okay. And so, um, have you ever kind of like I hear I don't know if this is true or not. NASA is going to start very soon taking people up into space.
Yeah, well, I just read what yesterday or the day before that William Shatner, who played Captain Kirk in the '60s, he's 90 years old, and next month he's going up to space with Mr. Amazon himself on his rocket ship, and he'll be the oldest person to ever be in space at 90 years old. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I would totally go.
Yeah. And if you were offered to go on the moon, would you go on the moon?
Oh, guaranteed. I would go anywhere they would send me. I would go to Mars. I would go to the moon. I don't think I'd go to Venus, but yeah, I'd love to go and see what's out there.
Yeah, yeah. And with the with the programs you watch, like space, do you remember? Was it Battle? Well, what was it called? Battle Galatians or something? Battle.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, what did you think about that?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Blu-ray in the other room over there.
Okay. And if someone asked you to do a film about space, what kind of movie would it be about?
Well, if you're looking for something semi-realistic, maybe The Martian or Gravity. But if you're just looking for a good time, then watch a Star Wars movie, watch a Star Trek movie. Uh, let me think. I don't have anything around here right now that I can point to because this is just books in this room. But yeah, all kinds of good stuff out there. There's lots of crap too. They've made a whole bunch of horrible movies, but they're entertaining in their own way too.
Yeah, right. Also, we got here. Ray, Ray is asking me, ask Sean what kind of, if he was going to be an alien, what kind of alien would he be?
Wow, I don't think I've ever thought of that before. Um, let's see. If I was going to be an alien on Star Trek, let's say I would be. Well, I wouldn't be a Klingon because I'm not violent enough. I'm not aggressive enough. Uh, hmm. I'd probably be an android actually, or a Vulcan.
Yeah, yeah. And uh, Susie wants to know um, what kind of if you was up in an acting role in Star Wars, what would you like to be?
Oh, I'd probably hmm, some kind of force sensitive creature, not necessarily human. And I don't know if I'd want to be a good guy or a bad guy, but I definitely want to be doing the fancy jumps with the lightsabers and stuff, and like moving things with my hands and choking people with my mind and all that kind of stuff. That would be cool.
Yeah, yeah. I like to be Darth Vader.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Try to be anyway. Um, and also, if you was what was that? Yeah, what did it say? All right. Um, Lisa wants to know. I see all your models at the back on the shelves.
Oh
Can
yes,
you tell me what they are and how many have you got? It seems like you've got a lot of models there.
I do. I do. These ones here and up above are Eagle Moss Star Trek starships. I've got about 70 of those. And then last year they stopped shipping to Canada, so I couldn't get any more of those. And then these ones here are micro machines of Star Trek from Galoob, made in the early 90s. And I think I have them all. There's 40 some. And then down here, these are Star Wars titanium starships made by Hasbro about maybe 10 or 15 years ago, roughly. And I think I have almost 30 of those. That's not the complete set. Uh, the Eagle Moss isn't the complete set, but I think the Micro Machines are. And then below that, I've just got some random pop vinyl figures, action figures, and dinky cars and other stuff like that.
Yeah. Roger wants to know, do you collect them?
Oof, I've been collecting for 30 some years. Mostly Star Trek, a little bit of Star Wars, some comic book stuff, other sci fi franchises like Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5, that kind of stuff. But the last 4 or 5 years, I've been downsizing my collection because my kid doesn't want it. None of the girls I've ever been with care about it. And I just turned 45, so I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to be getting old and decrepit, and I won't have the mental faculties to get rid of it. So I might as well get rid of most of it now, keep what I want, and sell the rest
Yeah.
while I can.
And Lisa wants to know, you're getting married. If you get married, what's going to happen? Because your wife will probably not want it around the house, especially on her shelves.
Uh, I'm relegated to the basement. My stuff has always been in the basement. That's where it goes because upstairs is the fancy, respectable adult stuff, you know. So I have my domain. It's all here downstairs, so it's okay. I
Um,
got a few random things upstairs that I snuck up there, but not too many.
yeah. Mike wants to know, have you got any big models, especially like Star Trek models or Star Wars models, spaceships?
Yeah, I have. Let's see, what have I got? They're packed away because I don't have enough room in this house. But I've got a Klingon starship and the Enterprise that Playmates made back in the '90s. Uh, Diamond Select made like 16-inch electronic starships, and I had a whole bunch. I sold those off. I think I have one left. So not too many big things left over, but the smaller ones are easy to display. So I got lots of those.
Yeah. Um, Richard says to me, Richard coming on the end, he's saying, "Hi Steve, I saw somebody in Louisiana the other day going around in a spaceship. It wasn't a flying spaceship. It was a flying saucer. He was sat in it, driving like a car. How about one of them?
Um,
Can you get one of them to drive around in?
I would totally do that. Back in the day, I had an old car. It was, let me think, that was back in the year, I think 2000, and it was a 1987 Buick Park Avenue. So what did I do? I painted the Star Trek communicator on the hood. I painted blue along the bottom of the door to make it look like warp engines. I had NCC 1701D stenciled on the back and drove that around and tried not to be embarrassed, but I've always worn my fandom on my sleeve. So yeah, I've done crazy things like that. I always wanted to take an old minivan and turn it into a shuttlecraft or something like that. I don't have the skills for anything fancy, so I've never done it.
Okay. Have you ever wanted your partner up, either wearing a Star Trek suit uniform or dressed up as Star Wars figure?
I do have a Klingon forehead made out of latex with the wig and everything. So I have worn it once or twice. She doesn't care for that. A few months ago, I got. Do I have a replica here? I don't think I do. But I've got the uniform top from Captain Kirk from the '60s. The green colored one with the wraparound part of it. So I got that for a costume, which I might wear this Halloween. But I tend not to because she doesn't even know what that stuff is, so she doesn't care. So
Um, um, Philippa wants to know, um, on your podcast, how can they find you on your podcast if they want to listen to you or watch you?
okay, well it's on YouTube. Um, it's on iTunes. It's on Spotify. I think it's on Pandora, and it's everywhere. Also, soulforgepodcast.com if you want to see all the links. The YouTube channel link is there. I think the iTunes link is there's a bunch of stuff. You can find it pretty much anywhere. I think most of them are on YouTube. It's just the static image with my words. It's not me moving around, or there's no video to it. But there's that. Yeah, I encourage that. I could always use more listeners. Soulforge podcast. It's all about life, the universe, and everything. A lot of embarrassing stories from me and from other people, and sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's sad. You just never know. It's all about life, really.
Okay, and last question. Rachel wants to know, if you were in a spaceship, what kind of spaceship would you like to fly around in?
Oh, I would like either the Defiant from Deep Space Nine, or maybe a Klingon bird of prey, so I can cloak. A small ship. I would like a small ship. If it's big enough to have an AT-AT walker from Star Wars, that would be awesome, but not necessary.
Yep, well done. Hi, Steve. I like to be C3PO. Okay. Um, well, yeah, okay. You can be C3PO. I,
Human
Steve,
cyborg
would it be
relations.
possible if you can ask Sean, does he save a lot of Darth Vader figures? And if so, does he sell any?
Let's see. I do have. I think I have a couple for sale, or maybe they're not for sale. I haven't listed them yet, but I do have some. Yeah, I've got. Let me think. I've got a metal one where he's on a base. I've got another one where he's a blue hologram. But yeah, I'm willing to sell them. Soulforgepodcast at gmail.com. Just hit me up and we can make a deal.
Well, yeah, there you go, guys. There you go. Sean, thank you very much for this.
Welcome.
As always, we, we talked about your kind of like space, and I like space too. But the trouble is kind of like when people say to me, about is there life out there on other planets? I think,
Hope
I
so.
think, yeah, you know what I mean. I think there's got to be, you know what I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Makes sense.
and I think it is. So yeah. All right then. Thanks very much, Sean, and see
Welcome.
you next time.
See you next time. Take care.
Thank you, Sean.
Welcome.